I think entrepreneurs need to understand when it's time to, step in a certain way of, let's actually collab on this. Or when it's time to, create your own lane or from your own perspective. It's very hard to decipher that because depending on where you're from, how you was raised, it's like, I don't need no help.
Welcome to Entrepreneurhood, where we break entrepreneurship down into three simple pillars: business, lifestyle, and motivation. Our goal is to use our personal experiences as industry leaders to guide and inspire young entrepreneurs to see the lesson in every challenge. Because we understand that companies don't succeed, people do. Now, welcome the leaders of Entrepreneurhood, Lakim and KB.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You got your boy Late Kim in the building, and I got my brother KB in the building with me. We on episode 64, and we decided to call this one Collaboration Over Competition, right? So KB is going to let y'all know why we decided to choose this topic. But before we do, we need to jump into our segment, W's and L's, right? Wins and losses. Wins and lessons, right? Because we don't take losses, we only take lessons. So, KB, I'm going to turn it over to you this week. What do you bring into the community? Do you have a W or do you have a lesson?
I got a lesson, man.
And the streak has officially stopped.
Yeah, it was a good run. It was a good run, but it's part of life.
Yep.
My client, I did have accepted offer before I went on vacation. I was excited about it. And we did the inspection as well. So after you get the accepted offer for a house, you do the inspection to make sure everything is good. And then the next step after that is going into contract. So I was hoping we going into contract as a house that she liked. However, she just thinks that she could get a house for cheaper and for what she's paying for. Um, so when it comes down to I come back from vacation, I get out the news that basically she's rescinding the accepted offer.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was my lesson. I'm still trying to figure out what I could get out of this lesson. But I had explained to her, like, but this particular client needs a concession. So a selling concession is where they waive the closing costs and is rolled into the mortgage, what makes your mortgage payment higher. So I'm like, the only reason your mortgage payment is higher because you're not paying on the front end, you're paying on the back end. And it's still educating her more. And I think I could just do a better job of educating clients way before, even like almost like talking to them 5 or 10 times about what can happen before we even submit an offer
Mhm.
to, help, alleviate that obstacle. Like, I want to make sure that we in full agreement to what's going to happen and what's going on. If this doesn't happen, this is plan A. This is plan B. So yeah, that was my definitely my L for this past week. So we back on the market, find her more houses. But before I go look for more houses, I'm gonna have that conversation, bro. Like, yo, this this is either this or is that. I'm not gonna be chasing you around for 6 months trying to show you houses that you can't afford.
Yeah, and there's a saying that like when you always try to go for something, cheaper, you always end up paying double or you end up paying twice. So it's like, the fact that she had someone that was willing to work with her with the closing by her messing that up is only going to backfire.
Yeah, and we in a competitive market where rates are coming down and people get excited, but that means more people excited, which means the price is gonna go up.
Hmm.
So it's a simple supply and demand, but if you're just looking at your natural eye, and hopefully she don't end up like that client that I talked about before, paying twice as much, or I would say the top of their budget for at least a less amount of house.
Yeah,
So I can't wait a year around this time. Like I'm too seasoned in the game to be waiting a year.
facts. Facts, bro.
What's up with you though, man?
Yeah, I think I'll go with the lesson route as well, man. I think I definitely had a great lesson over, I guess, the last 2 weeks because last week was your birthday, so we didn't really get a chance to, share anything with the community. But I think the lesson that I got is the importance of collaboration. Pretty
Mm.
much what this episode is going to be about. I felt like I've been trying to build something that already exist and being able to like speed up my process by finding a great collaboration and instead of building something from scratch, using an existing tool and adding my own personality to it, So I feel like I would share a lot more detail about it on the episode. But my lesson is just, it's okay to find good collaborations instead of trying to do everything from scratch, because just being a hard-headed entrepreneur, you always just want to do it one particular way, but there's a lot of different ways to get the same result.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder, for sure.
Yeah. So it was a good lesson, man. So I'm excited to talk about this topic and share my experience on why I think collaboration is, very vital, instead of always competing. So if you don't mind, let them know why we decided to choose this topic.
Yeah, definitely. The main reason, I think you need to identify where you at as an entrepreneur and where you at in business. And I think, it's an egotistical thing to think you're gonna go through this journey and have this massive success with no type of help or partnership. So 100 owning 100% of nothing is not equitable
Yeah.
to owning, 25% of something that's, a million or 1% of a million. So I think entrepreneurs need to understand when it's time to, step in a certain way of let's actually collab on this, or when it's time to, create your own lane or from your own perspective. It's very hard to decipher that because depending on where you're from, how you was raised, it's like I don't need no help. I'm
Right.
good. I'm gonna figure it out, and we want to work smarter, not harder. So if I can learn from somebody and avoid the pitfalls and I can avoid wasting time and wasting money, then I'm gonna take that route every time.
Yeah. And bro, and I think that, that was such a great explanation of what this topic is all about, because it doesn't just go straight into business, but this also applies on a personal level as well, right? Because I think now that I'm married, prior to, I was like, yeah, I could do everything on my own. Like, I don't need nobody. I could go, food shopping on my own. I could do my own laundry. I could whatever. And now that I have a bondage with my wife, like, bro, I don't want to be by myself no more, yo. Like the collaboration and the unity that we build in that we have built is way more enjoyable to know you have support than trying to be a lone wolf.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you said that, man. That's probably the first time I ever hear you express a vulnerability like that.
For real. Yeah, it really hit me because over the last, I think, few months, me and my wife, our connection has just been becoming even stronger. And I just was taking a look on the bigger picture, and I'm like, yo, 10 years ago, I never would have thought that I would be dependent on someone for like different aspects of my life, because growing up, I wanted my independence so bad that once I gained my independence, I was like, I don't need nobody. Once I stopped relying on my parents, I felt like I could do everything on my own,
Wait,
right?
so why do you want your independence so much?
I think because I just don't like being told what to do. And once I stopped taking money from my parents and I started doing things on my own, I realized no one could tell me what to do. And it felt good. It felt good being able to make decisions, buy things without asking for permission. So I felt like once I got to a point in my life that I no longer had to ask for permission, I was addicted to that feeling.
You like being in control.
Yo, like, I feel like most entrepreneurs do. So it was something that really shifted my perspective. And I went through that cycle, right? I went through a cycle of, yeah, I could just do everything on my own. I'm a lone wolf. You put me in a jungle, I'm gonna come back, with a chinchilla. I'm gonna come back king of the jungle. But it's like, bro, I don't want that no more. There's certain things that, yes, I still want my own independence, but it's actually more enjoyable knowing that you have support as you build things.
And at what point did you realize like I don't need to hold this flag anymore?
In business or in my personal life?
Well, we could do both, actually.
Yeah. So in business, I want to say probably 2021. Like I really like I've had the epiphany multiple times, but it was 2021 when I really was like looking for support outside of my sales community, right? Because I had like my sales community and I knew I could rely on them, but I just always felt like the sales community I was in, there was always an ulterior motive in the advice that was given, that they would only give me advice that would benefit them.
So you can sell more.
Exactly. Yeah, bro. And I was like, yo, I'm struggling. What should I do? They was like, well, like Kim, go to the field, go make more money, do it by yourself. You know, your employees are unreliable. Who's the best in the company? I'm like, I am. It was put the battery in my back, bro. It was like, who's the best recruiter? I'm like, I am. Who's the best sales dog? I am. So anytime my employees would do something, I'm like, yo, I'm better than you. So like, you know what? Let me go do the job.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the Kool-Aid that it was showing me. So I felt like that was always the path to go. Even having employees, the minute they would stop doing something right, I would try to take over and do it. But like, it's not a business, you know, that's just a really high paying job with a lot of stress.
Yeah, that's deep.
So once that epiphany happened, I reached out to a coach and he started like helping me see. He always told me a saying. He was like, "Wait, Kim, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame." And he would say different things like that. And I was like, "Yo, I really got to take myself out of this situation." And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay for someone to, you know, when you're used to leading and always guiding somebody, it's sometimes it's you feel weak when you need the same kind of guidance that you give.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that because you could have been still pushing through that brick wall of, I'm a dog and I'm gonna go and get it. And it's like, yeah, and it's very important to talk to people outside of your space and outside of your industry to get a different perspective as well, because it could be like a cult type environment and you won't even know, especially if you make money.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I think for me, I didn't really realize until like my probably last year of training, last 2 years of training, where it's like, I really wish I could have somebody else to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have somebody else, but I just don't trust somebody. Or the people I'm trying to, help and mentor, they just felt like, yo, I could do it on my own. I'm gonna get to where you at if I just keep working. And I'm like, no, like that's not the way. I don't want you to have to go through the struggle of the first 6 years that I went through. Like I was profitable, but I was struggling mentally and
Mm-hmm.
spiritually because I just had this chip on my shoulder of I had to prove myself because I didn't take the school route and I didn't take the 9 to 5 route. So it's like, all right, I'm a business owner. I gotta go. Everything is business. Everything is business.
Yep.
And I ruined a lot of, relationships. I ruined vacations, and I ruined most important relationship with myself.
Yeah.
So I was just more of KB and forgot who Kayla was.
Mm.
And I think me realizing that like, yo, I need some help. And then 2021, that's why I reached out and joined CAU, Marco Russell coaching community, learn how to be a better coach and sell high ticket products.
Yeah.
And literally I went there for ads and to learn sales, but I got way more than that. And the first thing they attacked was my mindset. And just made me realize like just work smarter. Like just if it's already set, let me just do something that's already set. It doesn't make sense to try to, reinvent the wheel. We hear that, throughout our life, but we don't realize that we're actually doing that, trying to reinvent the wheel because we want to
Yep.
be so creative, so innovative, change the world. But you could change the world by putting your own flavor and your own personality on it.
Mm.
So all cars got four wheels. So why are we trying to build a fifth wheel
Yeah.
to be different? And I think sometimes it's like, yo, you really gotta take a step back and check your ego and look in the mirror like, yo, is this the best way to go about it, or just the way I want to do it?
Yep.
And
That's a fact, bro, because being able to self-evaluate that particular situation, that really separates the men from the boys, or the mature entrepreneur from the novice. Like that particular perspective is so important.
yeah, and I think that's what separated me. So it's a point where a lot of people in the training community were just so like they were shocked, like because what I used to do, I used to send people clients. They be like, yo, why you doing this? I'm like, yo, I want you to eat. Like, I know my time frame is out and I know I'm already at capacity, but yo, you can go over here, send you to that person. And I was like, I can create a business where it comes to being affiliation, but a lot of people, their marketing wasn't like mine, or they didn't cater to the certain niche that I cater to. So if they come to me to get they sculpt it, like they go to Dr. Miami, but they go to somebody else, it's just like major weight loss or just like mobility. They want to see the results. So that's why I had the issue when I was just sending people to different trainers. But even when I sent them to trainer, it was like, yo, what's wrong with the person? Like, I don't get it. You got tired of them? Like, no, I just want to spread love. Like, it is what it is. And I think that type of mindset, it changed me where I didn't feel like I was moving in scarcity. I was moving in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So even now, it's transition over to funding and the financial literacy space. Other people that do funding, it's like, nah, yo, this is how you could do it. This is how you can run your business. And it's like, yo, I gotta pay you. I'm like, nah, you good. I'll let you know when you gotta pay me.
Right.
But just giving that game and having that abundance, because my whole thing was, it never was an issue for me to give game to people about entrepreneurship or what, because we do all the time on this podcast.
Yeah.
However, the issue for me is talking to the wrong people that wasn't going to take it and actually run the play. And that's what I had to realize for myself. Like, nah, when people actually do run it and they implement and they go further than me, I love it. And
Yeah.
shout out to my boy, Mike, Woe Fitness. He came, chopped up me February 2021. By May, he quit his job. Now he got like 60, 80 clients.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and it come full circle because he like, okay, I actually want to get my own gym. All right, bet. Let's look at your credit. Get his credit right. About to get him funded. So it's like it's all full circle when you move in abundance, not in scarcity. And I'm like, yo, I'm happy you're doing it. Like I'm proud. He trained some of the people I used to train.
Yep.
So I just think it's not enough people like that in the world to realize like, collaboration is very important.
So why do you think a lot of people they struggle with collaboration, and they're so focused on competition, right? Like, what do you think that your perspective is on that?
I just think they don't have enough game. They don't have enough sauce. So if I show you my best move, and that's all I gotta protect it.
Right.
I I can't help you because this is all I have. And I think if you're really great at what you do, it's inevitable. Now, of course, there's certain things that people are going to pay for. You don't just give everything away. However, you'll know when it's like, yo, I could pass this on to somebody else, or somebody else could do more with this information. And I just think, people come from a scarcity mindset because where we from, you have to protect everything you have, so somebody's going to take it.
Take it. Yep.
So you at lunch, you better cover your food. Snatchies, they take it.
Yep.
Especially if they see other people take it from you, they're like, all right, so I know I could take some from you now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, demand your dominance. And it is crazy because it's almost like a jail mentality where you have to watch your back every 5 seconds. So, after you get your bike stolen a couple of times, you're like, yo, I gotta change my shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
So,
one hit home, bro. That one hit home. I got my bike stolen mad times.
and the worst thing about that, they stole one piece of my bike where it would not work. I'm like, yeah, I might as well take the whole bike.
Yeah.
But that mentality, it transitions over as you get older into business. Like, no, I don't going to give no free offers. No, I'm not going to help somebody that's in the same space as me. And when you move like that, there's a blockage there. And with that blockage, it's not a flow. Like money, I learned that money is a currency, and money is a currency. A current is moving constantly. It's a flow. So as soon as you hold on to the money, you stop in the flow of it.
Yep.
And And I think I just had to take on that ideology of like, nah, it's a flow. This is why I make sure I, a good service. I'm in a service-based business. I tip people, I give them more than what they deserve, or I'm always coming back, or I'm always referring to somebody. And the same thing with people. I got a call the other day. Some girl said I got referred by somebody named Esther. I never met an Esther. I don't even have an Esther on my phone. She was like, I want to get, credit repair and business funding. And it was just so dope. And I'm like, yo, this is just certain seeds that I planted that I probably didn't receive from that person, but that's just how the universe works. So yeah, when you have that flow, and that's always been something that I really accustomed to myself, it transitions in your business. Whereas
Yeah.
you can't even explain how it happened.
Because I think it's so important for entrepreneurs to realize when you're building your business and you have offers or products and services, it's so important to be able to find and you're building what I call a grand slam offer, like the ultimate offer. Instead of trying to create every piece of that offer, look for different people that have that particular aspect of your business figured out, that you could say, yo, like, let's collab on this, because that's where your area of expertise is. But I have the overall platform, but I need aspect on this lever, right? And being able to find those partnerships and connections, it just makes it easier, right? I remember I was talking to Glad one time, and a part of his course, he was saying, yo, I'm gonna add this part to my course. I'm gonna add I don't know, let's say he said Airbnb, right? And I was like, all right, cool. So how you gonna do that? Like, you gonna create your own? He's like, nah, instead of creating my own, I know somebody that's an expert in the Airbnb space. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leverage that, but it's still gonna be on my particular platform. So I'm still gonna give the value to my community, but it's gonna be from an expert, and they still got to go to Glad because Glad has that overall connection to it. So it just makes sense, because he could have been like, all right, well, let me take my own Airbnb course and I'm gonna learn Airbnb, then I'm gonna teach it. It's like, why do that, you know?
Or say, yo, I'm gonna charge you extra for this Airbnb course.
Yeah.
And
So
I just think, bro, a lot of people just have a take mentality instead of a give, give, give. I know it's gonna come back. I'm not worried about it. And
yeah,
it takes a different kind of people to shift the game like that when it comes down to value within itself. Because everybody say value, give value. But that's relative who you're talking to. And the people that actually need it, you don't want to give it to them because it's like, if I give them this, then I ain't got nothing.
yeah,
So I think like even when I'm talking to my clients, it's like I don't just do funding. Let's really figure out how to make your business be even better, or let's figure out how to park your money even better. So when you solving problems, there's more problems to be solved after the initial problem is fixed.
yep,
But it takes a different level of mentality as an entrepreneur because like, all right, I'll help you with funding, but you probably need to figure out your taxes. You probably want to get a house eventually, or you probably trying to figure out, I want life insurance somehow,
mm-hmm.
or in all these different pockets of the space. So I think now it's coming to me like it's very egotistical to think you're the only important part for this person.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what business you at, there's always another element. You could be getting a house. Yes, I'm the realtor, but without the loan officer, without the attorney, without the appraiser, without the inspector, this deal is not happening. Yes, I get a car, but if I don't have insurance, I'm not coming off the lot.
Facts, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta make sure the finance, is doing well. So all of these things that it plays a role. Everything's a puzzle. And when you think you're so big and you're so important more than anybody else in the puzzle, that's when it becomes a problem.
yeah. I think the best entrepreneurs, they they connect the dots. Like, even thinking about it, right? When you go get a new car, um, one of the processes is like they normally wash your car, or they clean it.
Yeah.
So it's like these car dealerships, they could, do it themselves, or they could just, like, build a department or create an affiliate of like, once you buy the car, the process is it goes through our car wash and then we present it to the customer, so it's just kind of like, there's so many. If you look at the best business models, the best business models is a joint venture of multiple different industries or businesses, and then they just kind of put it all under one umbrella.
Yeah, because after you get the car, you gotta get the tents. If they didn't come with the tents,
Yep.
then after you get the tents, it's like, all right, bet let's get a full detail, or let's get some rims on there. You know, people that's, or let's set up a system in there. Like, there's so many different things that play a role, and everything is a big funnel. The world's a big funnel. Life is a funnel. So at
Yeah.
every stage of your life, there's new problems and there's new solutions, and that means the opportunity for new relationships. So I think we need to embody that more as entrepreneurs and business owners to know, yeah, I'm not the most important person. I'm part of this journey, but there's another part where I can assist or I can help or I can push this client forward.
And I think you just said something that's really important. I want to share one quick story before we wrap up. But you said relationships, right? The best, uh, one of the best pros of collaborations is the new relationships that's created and formed, right? So for me, with my coaching business, I started my coaching business in 2021, and while still running my sales company, and I was just building it, figuring out brick by brick. Then 2022, I went full time into the coaching, and same thing, building it brick by brick. And then I was like, yo, I need more relationships, more connections in the coaching industry. So I just start searching, man. I just start searching for different connections and different places where I felt like I could find a good collaboration, and I ended up finding one over the last 2 weeks, and it felt great, bro. Because um, and it's funny when you start searching for these different collaborations or different solutions of your business, you start realizing how big the world really is and what's really out there. Because the whole time I'm like, yo, I haven't seen nobody that's doing this offer in the way I'm doing it, right? But it was probably because I wasn't really looking for it. I just kind of fake looked, and I was like, all right, I can't find it. Let me create it. But in the reality, it was out there, and it was a great coaching tool that I just uncovered. And I'm about to incorporate this coaching tool a part of my business. And it has a lot of aspects and elements of what I was trying to build from scratch. So it's like, yo, I'm so glad that I got humbled over the last couple of weeks. And I felt like I kept hitting my head against the wall. And then I uncovered something that I was looking for. So when I found this collaboration and this coaching tool, I felt like it was a perfect match for me, because I'm like, yo, I was trying to build this on my own, but it was really out here. So I feel like I don't know who needs to hear that story, but if you are feeling stuck, right? If you're feeling stuck and you feel like you're creating something, you're building something, but there are different pieces that are just missing and you can't build it on your own, start searching. Start searching. When you start actively looking for the solution, you start realizing, like, oh wait, this person provides a similar thing. Okay, maybe I could create some type of connection with this person, add that to my business. Every time I get a new client, they get PC, and every time I get a client, I give them PC, or vice versa. So it's like there's so many different benefits of connections, collaborations, and I think if people actively seek it, they'll find it.
Hey, I agree with that 1,000%, bro. And if you out there, you struggling, you see these different YouTube's, TikTok videos about business credit, and you trying to double dutch about which route to go, and you don't want to mess up your credit, then holler at me. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Because my job is to clear all that confusion, because there's so much information, but there's so much misinformation out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people what I learned over the course of 2 years, you have access to in a 20-minute phone call, complimentary for the first one.
Yep. Yep.
But it only going to take one call for, to get the job done. I just think that mindset of, because that's what school teaches, bro. Like, it teaches us to work hard, don't work together, and figure out on your own the answers in a book.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if you read chapter 2, I read chapter 3, we could come together, we could figure this. And we realize we really don't need chapter 4. We could go to 6. So I just think that collaboration effort is to, because they don't, in a work world, they don't want you to talk to other employees because now you know what each other are making.
Mm-hmm.
Once you figure out what each other are making, then it's like, oh shoot, I have to pay this person more based on their credentials. So they have cubicles to really separate you.
Yeah.
So you think you're doing a big one, and you probably get paid less than the person that's next to you.
That you feel like it's doing less work.
Exactly. So it's really divided that way purposely to know like, nah, we don't want them to know exactly what they're worth and what their value.
Mm-mm.
So as we do it as collective as business owners, we can understand, yo, this is what I'm not good at, or this is what I'm missing. Oh, like even me using your team to help with my funnel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's something that my V8 is not able to do, but you have the resource already. So why I go on Fiverr and try to look for myself instead of just hitting you up and asking you about it?
Yep.
You know, I'm going to pay as well. That's another thing. Don't get confused. Collaboration of not paying your part.
Yeah, yeah. They think collaboration means free. No, that doesn't mean free. Every collaboration, and I think the best collaborations, you got to have some skin in the game.
Yeah. And I think it's just certain, things that we have to learn how to separate from culturally to who we are now and the status quo of what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing is really taking a look in the mirror as an entrepreneur to realize, I'm making this hard for myself because I want to have the trophy and I want to take the picture and say I did it, or can I make this easier to say, yo, we actually did it?
Yeah, bro. And my final take on this is what you said again in the beginning. A lot of people, they're so prideful of having 100% of zero, right? Versus having 1% of 100,000, 5% of 5 million. It's always better to get a piece of something than to get zero of nothing, and I feel like when people understand that, you'll know when the time is right. I think sometimes people, they don't know when they should try to go at something by themselves, and then when they should look for the collaboration opportunities. But when you're creating something, right, and you feel like this is going to be your unique thing, yes, create it, right? But once it's created, you probably need some good collaborations to get it out to the world. So yes, when you're in your creative phase, maybe that's something that that's your own uniqueness, that's your own identity, right? But once that's built, look for collaborations to share with the world because people need that. So, that's my final thoughts and take on that. You got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. Also, too, when it comes down to competition, I would say be in your creative space first, like how you said. Don't be a copycat either. Like that's
Right.
corny.
Yep.
Like put your own spin on it and see how you can add value to whatever project or whatever business that you're doing first. And then also like, all right, how can we work together with your strengths and my strengths? But I can't work with your weaknesses and you have no strengths. So we're trying to,
Right.
oh, yeah, let's work together, bro. Like don't do a group project and just put your name there and you didn't put any work in.
Yep.
Like that's a no-no. Like that's not what we doing. Because that leave you on the sideline.
Yeah,
Be-
you got to bring something to the table if you
Yeah.
go come to the table.
So become valuable by solving problems. So if you can't solve a problem, then don't reach out to collab. Like, yo, let's work, bro. What we working on? What we doing here?
Facts, though, and that's a great way to end the episode. It's like, yo, if you're gonna, if you're looking for collaborations, bring something to the table. Other than that, like, stay competing in your own lane by yourself because you have to bring value. So again, for anyone listening to this episode, if you got any value from what KB and I was saying, do us a favor, share this with somebody. This episode was right to the point. I think we hit a lot of valuable lessons and experiences. So share this with someone that you think could gain value from entrepreneurhood and give us a 5-star review. That's how we get the word out on what we build in. And we appreciate y'all.
Anyone can start, but only champions finish. Now that you've completed this episode, you're ready to continue your journey by connecting directly with our hosts of Entrepreneurhood. Follow us on Instagram at The Entrepreneur Hood to stay updated with the community. For each episode, the first set of listeners to tag us on Instagram and leave a 5-star review will be entered into a drawing to get a free one-on-one coaching session on the topic of entrepreneurship with our hosts. Remember, there is no shame in struggling, because we fail, we grow, and we win. Right here on Entrepreneurhood.